But it's kept me youthful. It's definitely brought me back to that point where I'm able to see the beauty and look through a child's eyes, look through my child's eyes.
Wow.
At anything.
Yeah.
At anything. I look at plants, I look at a leaf on a tree, totally different, because I understand that leaf has a purpose within the grand scheme of things, and we all do. We're all leaves kind of blowing in this universal wind. So as long as we know that our purpose means something, that we mean something, we matter outside of mattering for a corporation or mattering for the guy that provides the money for the food and yada yada. Like, there's more to life than that.
Welcome back to the podcast. Today we have a very special guest. He's been an avid forager and purveyor of plant medicine for 20 plus years now. He has turned his passion into a safe space for the community to heal and find themselves while simultaneously connecting with other like-minded people to create the ripple effect of self-knowledge, self-healing, and oneness with everything in our world. He's the founder of Shroomy Walkabouts. Welcome to the podcast, Tony Alvarez.
Thank you so much for having me.
Welcome, Tony.
Yay!
Thanks for being here.
Man, it's good to have you.
Thank you.
I've heard a lot of good things about you, and now just meeting you and feeling your energy, I'm excited for this podcast, right?
I love it. I love it. Let's go.
Yeah, so I always like to, start our podcast with kind of getting to know the person, because I feel like when they get to know your story, where you come from, they kind of get to connect with you a little bit better. So why don't you take us back, how you grew up, like your family, stuff like that.
Okay, well, I grew up in a pretty rough neighborhood here in San Jose. I was always kind of the odd kid out because I was always really trying to find my spirituality through different books and reading. Got a lot of requests to be jumped into gangs and so on and so on. But I always found my true center whenever I was hiking in the woods, whenever I was doing anything in nature. And I got that love from one of my uncles.
Okay.
So, yeah, so that's just how I was able to really walk into my power when I was young. And then it proceeded into my later years.
So how old were you when you started, like, your passion for hiking?
Yeah.
I'd say 14.
14? Okay, so like a teenager.
Yeah.
Yeah. And where'd you go hiking at usually?
All around the Santa Cruz Hills.
Okay.
On the east side, Eagle Rock, Allen Rock Park.
Yeah.
So lots of local spots, and I'm very familiar with a lot of these hills and a lot of these trails. So it put me in a good spot to do what I do now.
Yeah. What I love about the Bay Area, and maybe you can agree, is like, we live in the Silicon Valley. It's high tech. It's busy. But if you just drive 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes right outside this little area, like Los Gatos Mountains, Santa Cruz Mountains, like you said, even Allen Rock, you almost feel like you entered like a different world.
Totally different world.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of the Bay Area.
Yeah.
That's why I haven't left.
Yeah. Expensive as it is.
It
right?
is. We pay to play, man.
Yeah. They pay the premium, right?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, you get the city life too.
We
City
do.
life, and you can go out in the mountains.
Yes.
Not that far.
Yes. Best of both worlds, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
And so talk about your upbringing a little bit. Like, do you have a big family?
So I'm one of 3 children.
Okay.
My mother had 2 daughters and then me, so I'm the baby.
The baby.
And
all
I'm
right.
the only boy.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So
I was a little spoiled when I was young. And it is what it is, the prince in the house.
Yeah, of course.
But, I did have a lot of trauma coming up,
Okay.
a lot due to outside, influences and being in nature really helped me deal with that.
Okay.
And I was alone a lot. Really,
Okay.
when I was young, I was alone a lot. So that allowed me the time and space to really find myself.
Yeah. So why were you alone a lot? Was it because you were the boy and you had older sisters, or?
There was a really abusive person in my family. My
okay.
mother's boyfriend was really abusive.
Okay.
So I just couldn't be home a lot, And a lot of times I was kind of ousted because of his wants and needs, so I was I was the other male in the mix. So he's like, oh, there's only one alpha.
Wow.
So it was like that.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. So then you started to find your kind of peace, your safe place in nature.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Do you remember your first hike at all ever?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
Talk about
That's
that.
when I was 5 years old.
Oh, wow.
With my uncle, who took me and 12 of my cousins camping. Guy was a trooper.
Yeah.
A trooper. And he had an old school VW Westphalia.
Yeah.
So he packed all the kids in the Westphalia, and we went up to Big Basin, and we stayed right next to the river, and we took a bunch of hikes. And ever since that moment, I was hooked. And me and my uncle were tight.
Okay.
Like
How
Steve,
do you remember how that felt like? 5 years old.
the feeling was absolute bliss.
There you go. I
Follow
love
your
it.
bliss.
Yeah.
Right? You like that?
Yeah.
Shameless
I like
coin
that.
on-
Yeah.
But
No
it-
pun intended.
Yeah, pun all intended.
All intended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the feeling of being at home
Right.
is really what I felt at that early age. I was like, this is where I need to be.
Right.
Period.
Right.
So I got out as much as I could and would try to jump into someone's car, a friend, a family member. Oh, you're going to the hills? Let's go.
Yeah.
But for a while it got really diluted and started pushing away from family and started finding my own way. So yeah, so it was an interesting upbringing for sure, but lots of good came from it.
Yeah.
The point of being alone. A lot of people in the society are afraid of being alone,
100%. Yeah.
and I'm not.
That's good.
I'm not. I was alone for a long time, and there was a point where I was, but after stepping into a lot of plant medicines, that fear is completely gone.
Yeah. Where do you think that comes from? From people being afraid to be alone? Because, I mean, I can be honest. Like, I'm kind of like that. I don't know if it's afraid, but I just don't like going anywhere by myself. Like, even the movies. I know a lot of people like go to the movies by themselves. But maybe it's, I don't know what it is, but I feel like, oh, like total loser. Like, everyone's looking at you, you're by yourself. But that's probably not the right way to look at it, right?
Well, I mean, the societal norms kind of dictate that to us.
Yeah.
This is the outside the norm. You got to have someone holding your hand when you're doing everything. And that's really a misstep if somebody's trying to find themselves.
Yeah.
You can't find you if you have outside influences constantly dictating what you're thinking,
Right.
what you're doing, what you're saying, how you're saying it, what you're wearing. I mean, all the list just goes on and on.
Right.
So, and again, I had a lot of that coming up. I had a lot of gang member friends. I did a lot of things that I shouldn't have when I was young, but
Just trying to fit in, all of us.
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
But I was lucky enough to move through that fairly unscathed and
Blessed.
super blessed.
Yeah.
Super blessed beyond words. And those blessings have brought me to the point where I'm at now.
Yeah.
They brought me here.
Yeah. I can relate with a lot of what you're saying because I remember, Hispanic families, camping is like the big thing.
Yeah, for sure.
That's like
For
vacation,
sure.
right? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're not paying for the hotel.
Yeah,
no. The tent.
Yeah.
Put it up.
So I remember like all the uncles, all the aunts,
Yeah.
just like big mob of people camping, you know what I mean? In the water. But I never had that feeling of connection to nature, kind of like you did. Where do you think that came from? Do you think somehow like your purpose and mission has always been to be with nature, or was it because you were kind of forced to be alone? What do you think that came from?
If I can be candid,
Go ahead.
Let's
do it. Yeah.
I think some of it stems from past lives.
Okay. 100%. Yeah, I agree.
I also think that a lot of it comes from my willingness to be open to the universe.
Yeah.
Really, allowing myself to be still. When you're still, you get to see everything. It's like an analogy, right? One of my elders told me, if you have these things in your life and you hold on to them so tightly, you're not able to see anything but that one thing that you're holding so tightly. But if you let go of that thing and all these other things that you hold so dear, where are your arms now?
They're open.
You're wide open. You're wide open to receive anything and everything from the universe.
Yeah.
It literally falls at your feet.
Okay.
And I'm proof of that.
So you're saying that people need to kind of just let go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like the saying this is let go and let God, maybe let go and let Mother Nature.
Yes. Well, God is Mother Nature.
Oh,
God is
yeah.
God is everything.
Yeah,
That's just a coined term for what it is at the source of who we are.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
well, I remember my first ceremony. I grew up not connected to nature. And on my first ceremony, I was completely connected. I mean, Hatem talks about it a lot. Like,
Yeah.
rolling around the dirt. I was like going, like picking up the sands. Like, oh my God, it feels so good. And just rub it on my face, my skin.
She was one with the earth.
I love it. I was there.
You were?
I was there.
September? Okay.
Yes. And she was so in. I cried. I'm not gonna lie. I was watching you.
Yeah.
I got really emotional because
Wow.
it reminded me of my first time taking
my
ayahuasca,
God.
and letting go of all these societal norms. Who are we to call dirt dirty?
Right.
Yeah.
We're the dirty ones.
We're the dirty ones, not the dirt.
Yeah.
And I was so in love, like so in love with nature ever since that happened. So yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, you look like a zombie that just crawled out of the. I was like, yes, she did it.
I know.
She did it.
I wish you saw that.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you guys mentioned something like nature. We always talk about, like, I think, and you can add to this, I think a lot of the problems that people have nowadays because we're so disconnected. Like, it's funny, we're so connected through technology.
Right.
However, we're disconnected at the core of our being as human beings and as spiritual beings and as nature, right?
Yeah.
So what's your view on that disconnect, right?
So that disconnect, it comes from there's so many sources of disconnection. Excuse me. One thing that I talk to people, this is like an analogy that I give people is, Las Vegas. Okay, they have what they do in Las Vegas is scientific. When you walk into any casino, there's loud music, there's flashing lights, there's half-naked women, there's alcohol, and there's money. So these things are put there to discombobulate you and keep you confused so that you're easily malleable, which means you're moldable to any and every suggestion that they give you.
Wow. I never thought of it like that.
And that is what we live in. Society that we live in now, it's everything. It's the drinks that we drink. It's the shoes that we wear. It's the clothes that we wear, the brands that we choose to identify ourselves with. These are things that people have implanted in our head, and we act like they're ours.
Right.
They're never yours.
Right.
They're never yours. They never were.
Yeah.
So I think that disconnection comes from a lot of that. And it also comes from the divide and conquer mentality within this society. I mean, we're looking at it now. Divide and conquer is currently at a finite level.
Right.
It's all the way down to family members, brothers and sisters at each other's throats about what political party they voted for or who drinks Coke and who drinks Pepsi and Niners, Raiders. I mean, it's crazy.
That's so true.
It's crazy. So they've created this very well to keep us ignorant and away from each other.
Right.
And especially now.
Yeah. So you mentioned division. Like, I've been around 43 years. You're around the same age as me. I've never seen this much division in the world in my life, especially the United States. Right. Like, the United States gets it wrong sometimes, but somehow, some way, the democracy, the unity, we always come together. Right. Now, it seems like that's not happening, right? No. It seems like it's just starting, which is kind of scary, right? Like, I don't like to get political, but Trump...
I don't either.
But Trump is basically saying, okay, I lost, but we're just getting started. Like, basically, this movement's just getting started, which is... That's how many, like, dictators and all that kind of stuff happen.
Absolutely.
I always thought, like, you could say what you want about the United States, but to me, it's always the greatest country in the world.
I agree.
You look at things that happen like in Venezuela and like, some Middle Eastern countries. That's when dictators actually take over. You have warlords and stuff like that. So far, for almost 250 plus years, this country has been able to avoid that.
Right.
But now it's crazy. Like you said, the division is deep and it goes within family. And I see it in my own family, which is crazy. And I try to always take the higher road because I feel like I'm somewhat woke. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I also understand that I'm not going to win with someone who's convinced and it's their truth. So I'd rather choose my family being united and happy than, well, you're wrong and I'm right. And I believe this and you're stupid and, you're brainwashed and all that kind of stuff, Right. I'd rather just be like, well, it doesn't matter, right? You know what I mean? Family is more important. But
I love you and that doesn't change.
Yeah. But you made a huge point, though, because it's deep now. You know what I mean? Like, even cell phones, like Droid and Apple people don't even like each other. Dude. Yeah.
Absolutely. I consider about having a Samsung. I'm like, dude, relax. It's not your phone. I'm the one dealing with it. Don't worry about it. You're good.
Yeah, you don't have to deal with it. Right?
Yeah. Thank you guys for mentioning that because I came here when I was 10 years old from the Philippines. And in a way, I'm just like, wow, America's like this. And I'm also growing in this country. And this is my home.
Yeah.
But now it's like almost like so uncomfortable, like what's going on, everything that's going on. Like, what do I do? Like, you know, I want to know the facts. You know, I want to be an observer. At the same time, I can't believe this is happening. I thought Philippines was worse. You know, I mean, it has its own issues too. But like, holy crap! Now in my home country here, it's like this is happening. So.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so important for us to create these communities.
Yeah.
Like Shroomy Walkabouts, like when I'm fostering, you know, these communities can change this paradigm. Us coming together as us coming together, knowing that we're significant and that we have purpose is everything.
Yeah,
it's everything.
So historically, there's been healers, there's been plant medicine people, and they've just never been able to flourish for some reasons. They get, you know, whacked off. Some reasons they get quieted. I've talked to a lot of people, and it's a new age. They say we exited the Aquarian Age, or we're entering the Aquarian Age. Which one is it? We're entering the Aquarian Age. Okay, my apologies. So we're entering the Aquarian Age, which I believe it's an age of change.
Yes.
Okay. So do you think because we are entering the Aquarian Age that this movement of self-healing, of spirituality, of self-discovery, of plant, you know, herbal, medicinal healing, stuff that's basically been around for thousands of years.
Right.
Do you think we're kind of going towards that, and it's gonna win, or do you think it's still gonna be a fight?
I think this has been building for a few years. The powers that be have definitely put their mark on, you know, how they can, this is a controlled substance, this is this and this, but hold on, let's get you on some opiates, you know.
Yeah.
You got an injury, let's give you a 90-day supply, even though it only takes 30 days to get an addiction to an opiate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's crazy.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people that are coming to my walkabouts, and just in general, people that I've met in passing that I would never, you know, when you see somebody dressed a certain way, or you see them have a certain type of car, it's the society we live in. You start assuming about who people are just based on their clothes.
They're successful.
Exactly.
Or they're not, right?
Right. But I've met some people that I assumed were a little uptight and whatever, who have taught me things.
That's awesome.
You know, and I was open to all of it, and they allowed me to teach them things. So this paradigm is really, really changing. The people that used to subscribe to that old thought process, they're no longer with it.
Yeah.
They're done with it.
Yeah.
They're done with it.
And I truly hope that is happening, because, you know,
so do I.
I've always been a spiritual person, you know. My father came from Mexico, so I don't know why, but he hated religion. So he always taught me, like, don't be religious, don't be brainwashed, like, use your own freedom of thought.
Yeah.
And nothing wrong with religious people or religion. Like, don't get me wrong, if you're religious, more power to you. But I never felt like that was my thing, you know?
Right.
And I've had an out-of-body experience in a church. So that's what kind of taught me at a very young age that we are spiritual, you know?
Absolutely.
Like, but I guess I attached it to religion for a little while because it happened in a Christian church, you know?
Right.
You know, I was raised Catholic. Again, if you're Catholic, nothing against Catholics, right? But I never felt connected. I felt like it was ritualistic. I didn't understand half of what they were saying. And so I just kind of went through the motions. I got my first communion, all that good stuff. You know, all the good things a little Latino boy should do.
Yes, indeed. Wear your little white suit and all that. You know, penguin tails.
Yeah, exactly, right? But then I just kind of let that go by the wayside. And then, like, you know, around 2000, some bad stuff happened in my life, and I was in a bad place, and I kind of got directed towards a Christian church, right? And at first I was kind of mad because I got tricked, right? But then the praise and worship, the songs, it kind of connected and resonated with me, because I was like, wow, like, if I'm going to be like religious, this seems more like what I could attach myself to, because it felt warm. You could just feel the energy.
Absolutely.
Right? But it's actually a cathedral of faith here in San Jose, right? But this was 2000. So we're talking about 20 years ago now. Yes, I'm that old, right? It was a college age group, so kind of like a community, like you're talking about, like Shroomy Walkabouts, like, you know, different communities, right? So I felt like connected. Everybody was cool. So I started going to church like 4 freaking days a week. I was the guy that went from the club 4 days a week to church 4 days a week, right?
Going hard. I love
going
it.
hard.
Go hard or go home.
Yeah, I'm all in or nothing, right?
Yeah.
So long story short, because it's not about me, but it was one where they would fall and be slain in the spirit. Do you know what that is?
Yes.
Yeah. So it used to scare me. Do you know what slain in the
I
spirit
think
is?
I've seen that on
like
TV.
they show the videos of like, oh,
yeah.
crying and all that. It used to freak me out. I was like, what the heck is going on? Are they possessed or something, right? Knocking people around. Yeah. So, but then I said, okay, God, if you're real, if this is real, I want to feel it, right? So I'm literally just praying like this, and I'm like, I want to pray for this, I want to pray for that. But I just got out of a long relationship, and it was like a really bad breakup. And you know what? I just forgave my ex. I forgave her. The minute I forgave her, I collapsed, and I started to wail like it was a purge, right?
Absolutely.
And then I was very prideful in the beginning because I popped out. I could see the whole room. I was like floating and watching myself on the ground, and I was like, Isaac, get up. You don't cry in front of anybody. You're too cool. You're too strong for that. And they went from pride to gratitude instantly. And I just kept saying, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. I said it like 1,000 times, and I woke up. I was probably out for like, I don't know, 30 seconds. And my best friend was right next to me, and he's like looking at me. He's like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, why? I didn't know what happened. He's like, you just fell and started crying. I'm like, really? And I was drunk in the spirit after that. Because like I was like, literally, It was like I was drunk, right? And for 5 years after that, I had inner peace. And everything was good in my life. So my point to that whole long story is that day I realized that we are spiritual beings.
Absolutely.
Because what the heck happened? I don't know what happened. But I was floating and I could see everything, and I was not in my body. Right. My body was emptying, right? And so yeah, just my point. Like, I understand that we are spiritual. We're having a human experience.
Yes.
And for some reason, maybe not for some reason, I know why. It's just powers that be have caused us to all be disconnected, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So let's talk about nature and hiking real quick because I want to see the transition, how you got to Shroomy Walkabouts and all that, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
And by the way, so talk about your teenage hiking years. What was that like?
The teenage hiking years were interesting.
Okay.
I did a lot of solo hikes. Did a lot of hikes with a lot of other people too, but the solo ones are the ones that really resonated with me because I was just me and my wits.
Okay.
I've had an experience when I wasn't experienced really about, game trails, and I ended up putting my sleeping bag. I was by myself. I was on mushrooms.
Oh, wow.
And I laid my sleeping bag in the middle of a game trail. And in the middle of the night, as I'm shrooming, staring at the stars, I hear wild pigs surround me and start sniffing around.
Oh, shoot.
So that was like a calming, humbling moment.
Yeah.
So I really just did some deep breaths and just relaxed, let go of the fear.
That's awesome.
Because they would be able to feel that and they would potentially attack me. So that was my first instance where I was able to calm myself and really calm my heart and my spirit so that nothing bad would come of this.
Right.
And just be love, right?
And
Can you
just be
explain
love.
real quick to anyone that doesn't know what game trail is, including me?
Sure. So a game trail is basically a trail that's built by either wild pigs or deers, and it's just like they run through the shrubbery and they create these trails just by them walking through multiple times. So
you were in their hood, basically.
I was in their hood.
Yeah.
Tough.
Yeah.
Just like, I'm going to lay right here and just hang out until you guys come back home, like Little Red Riding Hood or Goldilocks. You know what I mean?
Little Red Riding.
Yeah. So but I learned a lot that night, and that night was really eye-opening for myself as, I guess, with regard to my place in this world and in this realm with nature.
Yeah. Respect Mother Nature.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And I was able to, like I said, calm myself and really bring myself down to a point where I was almost communicating with these pigs, like, everything's fine.
Wow.
I'm good.
That's awesome.
You're good. That. And they were literally inches away from me, sniffing around in the dirt and doing their thing. And I just laid there.
Wow.
And they went on about their business.
Did they, was your face out, or was it hidden, or like
so that's the key,
I
right?
love that.
I have a sleeping bag right about here. Yeah, so it was good though, and I didn't sleep that night.
How old were you when that happened?
Reasons. I was 16.
Dang.
Yeah,
but I bet you it gave you extreme confidence after that.
It did. It did. I was on a whole nother level after that. I didn't care about anything. I wasn't scared of mountain lions or anything,
Wow.
bobcats, and I've seen a lot of those when I was walking by
You
myself
have?
or with my dog. Yeah,
Wow.
Wow.
I've had some really close calls, but they were. It was almost like after that time, I had like a psychic connection.
Yeah.
With all the animals that I encountered, I was able to like. Everything's good. We're good.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna mosey.
Yeah. We're good?
You don't mind? We're good.
I'm just going this way.
I'll just take my groceries and head that way. You know.
Yeah.
So it was the beginning of my deep connection with nature. Really, really deep.
That's
I love
awesome.
that.
Yeah.
You talk about psychic abilities, right? It's
Yes.
like you're setting that intention and like kind of like sending them that intention. Be like, I
Yes.
love you. You
Yes.
know, we're good, and
Yes.
I'm here. I came in peace.
Right.
And there's a lot of respect there, and I think they
Yes.
can sense that.
And they
know?
received it.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
received it very well because they could have wild pigs. If anybody knows anything about them out there, they can be deadly.
Yeah.
You know, and I had a whole herd around me.
Jeez.
Wow.
So
Oh,
these,
yeah.
these are boars. Like with,
These are wild
Yeah.
pigs, yes,
with
boars.
the sharp
Mhm.
teeth. Yeah. You know, I'll be honest with you. That's my big thing about nature. Like, I don't know why, but I have an extreme fear of always. Maybe I watch too many of those I shouldn't be alive shows or something, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like
Cujo.
yeah, and like I'm like I want to be in nature, but I understand, like you said, if I'm emanating fear and they smell that, it's like, oh, okay, it's a snack or something,
Yes.
right? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
They don't just sense it or smell it. They can feel you.
Yeah.
They can feel everything you're thinking and how you're reacting, and you just got to be calm.
Right.
Just got to be calm.
So
Trust yourself.
since you've been in that situation,
Mm.
and I know there's a lot of people that hike and you've seen encounters, what would be your best advice to anybody that would encounter a wild animal and they maybe don't have experience with it? What could you tell them so that they can be at least safer than they would be normally without the experience?
So my advice for anything like that happening would be to really just take some deep breaths, calm yourself, calm your heart, because heart rate is everything when it comes to any wild animal. That goes for if you swim in an ocean, which I've done a lot. You just want to calm yourself down and put out the intention that you're not there to harm these animals.
Right.
And just move your body accordingly. You know, don't make any sudden moves. Just be easy with your walk. Stroll or either back out if you're walking into an area where you potentially could be cornered. Don't walk into that.
Right.
Back away. But just put that intention out, and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
And following your intuition, I think.
Your intuition
for
is
sure,
everything.
right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I learned somewhere, just like dogs, right? Animals, period. They
Yes.
cannot communicate with voice.
Right.
So they're all energy.
Yes.
Everything is energy with animals, right? They can, like you said, they can feel you. They know what you're thinking. They know, because that's the only
Absolutely.
way they can communicate. They can't be like, hey, what's up, buddy? What's going on with you, right?
Right.
You know, so that's important, you know,
Very.
because hopefully I never encounter a wild animal, you know, because I don't know how well I'd be able to calm my heart rate. However, if you do, you know, it's important to know that. You know,
Yes.
you could save people's lives, like literally.
Absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
know, and another thing too is we have to respect Mother Nature. You know,
100%.
human beings are the only animal that has power of thought, power of choice.
Yes.
Sorry, not thought, choice. That's what makes us superior, right? We have the power of choice, and we're more than instinctual.
Right.
Most animals are just pure instincts,
Right.
right? However, that also gives us like that ego that we are bigger, badder, and greater than Mother Nature.
Yep.
Mother Nature farts and 100 people die.
Pretty much.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
100%.
So I think that's a good thing for people out there to know is just respect Mother Nature. Like you said,
Yes.
respect the animal, let them know you're not there to hurt them.
Exactly.
And then I heard too that most of the time they're more afraid of us than we are of them. Is that true?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They'll leave before you do.
Yeah, and
More often
another
than
thing I
not.
want to add to that is like be humble before animals and Mother Nature, you know,
Absolutely.
and also the elements,
Yeah.
fire, water, rain,
Air.
air, dirt. Be humble. If you guys have any experiences that you've encountered animals, please comment below and share
Yes.
your experience.
Thank you.
Please
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, and also make sure you if you like this podcast, and make sure you like the video and subscribe and hit the notification bell because it really helps us out. So yeah, you've had some encounters, but it's all been good,
Yes.
right? And so that was kind of in your teenage years. Did hiking kind of develop more as you got older? Because now you're actually leading people on hikes.
Yes.
So how did that happen?
So during my 20s, I had really tumultuous 20s. It was wild. I had to leave the state.
Wow.
For undisclosed reasons.
You literally hiked out of the state.
I hiked my ass to the train station and got out. Yeah. But you know, I'd say what really pushed me was I took a foraging class. I took a pretty intense 2-day foraging class about 7-8 years ago, and I had always been foraging, and I know what the local plants and mushrooms are. But I took this really intense class for 2 full days, and I was hooked. So that was like, okay, you have all these skills that you've been building over decades since you were a teenager.
Right.
What are you going to do with this? So what led me to where I am now was I was working a job as a manager in a radiology department. I won't say what massive conglomerate location I was at, but it was not me at all. It just wasn't my calling, and I knew it. And what really set it off was my first ayahuasca journey.
Beautiful.
And that ended the complacency. That ended the feeling of fear. Like, if I leave this job, I'm not going to be secure, and so on and so on. All these things that all of us worry about and we spend over half our lives worrying about how we're going to get food, how we're going to get this, how we're going to get that. Worrying and decreasing our life expectancy as Latino men.
Right.
Our life expectancy in America is 55.
Damn.
55. That's due to eating. That's due to our diet. That's due to alcoholism. There's a lot of things that play a part in this. Hypertension is the biggest one.
Right.
So I was feeling, you know, a lot of stress. I was having bouts of, I don't know if it was angina, if you know anything about angina. Angina is like a tightness in your chest where you feel like your heart starts to palpitate.
Yeah.
I started getting that.
Wow.
Which was total against who I am as a person. I'm calm, cool, and collective.
Right.
Once that started happening, I was like, I got to get the F out of here, because this is so against who I am as a being, as a spirit even.
Yeah.
So I created my exit strategy and laid everything out real nice. And I left there. It'll be 3 years in May of this year that I left. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I left and I never looked back.
Yeah. By the way, like I said, the purpose of this podcast is to help people find their true purpose.
Yes.
They say there's 2 very important days in your life: the day you were born and the day you find out why.
Yes.
So
thank you.
Are you saying that when you took that class and you had that ayahuasca experience that you found your purpose in life?
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm happy for you, man.
Thank you, brother.
I think everybody should be living their purpose. Like, what else are you on this earth to do but live your purpose?
Right.
Well, also, like, just be happy.
Yes.
Stop worrying every single day.
Exactly.
And I told myself I'm gonna laugh every single day, and I've been laughing every single day.
I love it.
Over
I love
anything
this. You
silly.
right? Anything little.
Yeah, it's just like, just laugh and you know, be happy. Find joy and joy in anything. You're reading a book.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sending a text message to someone, you know, your mom or whatever.
Right.
So.
Right. And I think the biggest noteworthy point of that particular sequence of events is being present.
Oh yeah. It's
being present in everything that you do. You know, in my bio, I talk about arriving into each moment ceremoniously. That is something that a friend of mine and myself really contemplated at length while we were on mushrooms. And we were out in the wilderness and we were hiking. We were probably about 4 or 5 hours into our hike, and just being grateful and stepping into this, okay, man, like, how do we really see ourselves living? Are we living or are we just scraping by?
Right.
Are
Existing.
are we finding our purpose, or are we just working so that we can have extra stuff, or that we can feel this security that they tell us about?
False security, by the way.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And this pandemic made everybody wake
Wow.
up to a very false security.
A lot
right?
of things. The other thing I want to add is start thinking about like, the question I keep asking myself, am I surviving or am I thriving?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'd rather be thriving, because when you think of surviving, I feel in my body, it's like very constricted. You know, it's not freedom to me. Yeah.
Tense. You start losing sleep. I mean, I can't. What am I gonna do? You're gonna do what you always do.
Yeah.
You're gonna be present.
Yeah, and also I think the what you were feeling, was it angina?
Angina.
Angina. I think it's your body telling you like you need to get out.
Yes.
Get out of here. Yeah.
Get the hell
Yeah,
out.
for sure.
You know, that's a good point, Joe, because our body tells us.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
we're going to talk about being vegan and vegan food and all that kind of stuff.
I love it.
So the reason I went vegan is because I always felt like shit, even when I ate healthy.
Right.
A couple things. Food coma. Your body is telling you, I am overfilled, overworked, I have no energy. But culturally, that was kind of like accepted. Sometimes it was like, I got food coma. It's almost like a fun thing to do. When really it's like, man, we're so disconnected from our own body. We're not even listening to our body when it's telling us, dude, I don't like this. I have to use all the energy in your body just to digest all this stuff
Right.
you just ate. And you're basically killing yourself.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And then the other thing you mentioned, Latinos, right? So both of my grandfathers died from diabetes at a young age, at a very young age. So I never really got to know either of them because they were both pretty much gone by the time I was 5, right? And that sparked my father to kind of be more cognizant of health. When we were 13, they got rid of all the Twinkies, all the sweet stuff. He started cooking with olive oil, you know? So we thought we were being healthy, right? For what we knew.
Right.
And then recently my father went vegan without me even influencing him.
I love it.
Yeah. And so, I mean, that was powerful for me. I mean, I would have been vegan whether my parents or anybody in my family did it or not, because I've always been that person in the family that does everything opposite, right? You know? But it's awesome, and it helps a lot when you have at least, I mean, the parents. Like, you know, we just want our parents to be healthy, and we want them to live long, healthy lives. And
What a way for your pops to really lead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My dad's
awesome.
always been a leader. So this is what happened. They were hiking in Mexico when they went to visit my grandmother, and they were out of breath. Like, they thought it was the altitude, right? Then they go to the doctor, and the doctor says, you guys have super high blood pressure and super high cholesterol. If you don't stop something soon, you're going to get a heart attack. And then they were like about to give him all those pills. My dad literally like almost smacked the pills out of his hand and said, you're not giving me no pills. I'll figure it out myself. And somehow he found the book, How Not to Die, which is like the vegan Bible, right?
Yes.
He read it and he goes vegan.
Love it.
And I told my dad, hey, I'm vegan. He's like, so am I. I'm like, what? I'm like,
When
what
did
the
this
heck?
happen?
Yeah. So my parents are in their late 60s, Latino parents that were famous for cooking like, you know, carne asada and, you know, all the enchiladas and al
Chicharrones.
pastor, like everything. Like we used to just go to town. Like our family was famous for cooking. Everybody come to our house, right? 180 degree. 3 months later, all levels below normal.
Love it.
They're healthy. They're
Love it.
happy, right? And I mean, honestly, that's an amazing thing. But I just wanted to mention that because, you know, as Latino, as anybody, Filipino, it doesn't matter. Every culture has their. So they say diseases run in families. No, diet and lifestyle runs in families.
Yes, they try
Make
to
sense?
pull that whole it's hereditary.
Yeah.
The diet is hereditary, not the genes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We all have the genes for something, but the diet and lifestyle trigger whatever that gene is.
Absolutely.
Right. So talk about your vegan journey. Like, when did it happen? Why did it happen? How did it happen? You know?
Sure. It really spawned from my ayahuasca.
Okay. Yeah.
It spawned from my
That's
ayahuasca
awesome.
journey. That was during my first journey. I was able to process a lot of my childhood traumas, but also there was a moment where I was in the shoes of a chicken
Wow.
because my grandfather was. He didn't give a shit about anything. Like
Right.
the city was like, you can't have goats in your backyard.
Seriously.
He's like, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
He had fighting cocks.
Typical
He had,
macho,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah.
He did whatever he wanted.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when I was young, I watched him kill chickens.
Yeah.
You know, the head between the two nails and
Yeah.
chop off their head. I mean, it was just nuts.
Yeah.
And I was traumatized by that. So I was able to literally feel what these chickens were going through. And that was like, oh man, okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'm done.
Yeah, that's a good point, because we're so disconnected even from where our food
source
comes from. I believe if everybody had to watch how that steak got on their table,
Thank you.
how that piece of chicken got on, how the bacon got on the table.
Oh, God.
I mean, they probably wouldn't go vegan right away, but they would definitely
Think
think
twice.
twice. You know what I mean? It's so funny. We have a lot in common. I watched slaughtering of a bull, pigs, because my parents got remarried in Mexico when I was like a teenager, right? And my dad, for some reason, wanted me to see the slaughtering of all the animals. And I was like this little, probably 12 or 13, not knowing what I was going to walk into, right? And literally, they have the bull like tied up. They stab it in the heart. They pull the knife out, and blood is gushing out like a fountain.
Yeah.
Is this a pig?
The bull.
This is a bull.
Oh,
A
the
bull,
bull?
a huge bull, right? So that wasn't the worst part. So I'm already freaking out because I see this blood just gushing out of this bull, and the bull's like, "Roar." You could tell the bull's like, what the fuck? Like, dying,
Yeah.
right? And then they start slaughtering the pigs, and they are squealing like
It's
like,
horrible.
It's horrible. Like, I literally was like, get me the hell out of here. I was like, what? Why did you bring me here? Like, I was freaked out, right? But obviously, I ended up, eating like normal, but that was also very impactful for me. You know what I mean? Maybe it was planted the seed of veganism, right?
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I just wish like somehow there was like a little code on that steak before they buy it, and you have to actually scan it and watch a
small video.
Yeah.
This is where it came from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Love animals.
Yeah.
That's right.
I do remember when I was 8 years old. We were like in a jungle area in the Philippines, and one of my cousins were getting married, so they're preparing food, and I was inside the like a hut house, whatever, and they were slaughtering pigs, and I can remember it squealing for like an hour or two,
Yeah.
and I couldn't even come out, and like I didn't want to see it. I just remember that feeling in my
Wow.
body.
Yeah. Isn't
Right.
it crazy?
It's so
Right.
sad.
It's
I felt like
traumatic.
it's
Yeah.
very traumatic. I feel so much. I feel a lot of pain.
Yeah.
You know, and I still remember that. It was like more than 20 years ago.
Yeah.
It took like an hour, 2 hours. It's like squealing, crying, and I'm just sitting there. I'm like, when is this gonna stop? Like, why are they doing this?
Yeah, just think about that.
I don't think I ate a pig that weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, pork
Yeah.
that weekend.
Yeah.
Because of that.
And and that's the kicker with Latinos and Filipinos. Pig is just we eat pig like it's going out of style. It's like, does anybody understand that these animals are like the closest genetically to us?
Yeah.
Out of any of the domesticated
They say
animals,
pigs are smarter than dogs.
man, they use pig hearts and kidneys to transplant into humans.
Wow.
They
That's
do?
crazy.
Yes, they've been doing it for years. So
Yeah,
we
it's
digress.
crazy.
Sorry.
No, we don't digress. But I mean, yeah, it's crazy. But not just that. Just think about what you're putting in your body, right?
Absolutely.
Like when an animal is slaughtered, it releases chemicals into the blood, fear,
Yes.
trauma, whatever else is released when you're about to die.
All
right?
that pain.
Yeah, all the pain, and then we consume it. And
All their memories.
Yeah, all the
as well.
memories. Yeah, because like you said, and we'll talk about that. We're all connected, right?
Yes.
So we're consuming death, fear, trauma, memories, and they're depressed when they're raised, and especially factory farming in this country is even the worse how the way they're treated.
Deplorable.
So like, not just that, it's like if they understood not only how the food got there, but what we're putting in our bodies, like honestly, I think it would just be a whole different ball game.
Absolutely.
So
Part of it is education.
yeah.
That's number one.
Being educated and being open to it, to changing your lifestyle. What's sad is people wait, for them to get sick until they do something
Yeah.
about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can
Or-
avoid that.
Or they're on their deathbed
And
and they're saying, I should have, I could have, I would have. Do any of us want to?
No.
Do we want that on our deathbed? Do we want those to be our last memories on this beautiful earth?
Right.
That it could have been avoided if I would have just stopped eating animals that were slaughtered horrifically. Like,
Yeah.
it's a pretty clear choice.
Yeah, and then so Joe's right. I mean, a lot of it's ignorance. Like they just don't know. If you don't know, it's not your fault. Like you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. But if you do know, and then now it's a choice, right?
Well, listen to your body.
Yeah,
Listen to your body
Yeah.
first. Your headaches, whatever. Think about what what's in the kitchen.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
like I said, I started changing my lifestyle because I was feeling like shit. I used to like drink a lot. And I'm like, I work out, and I would drink over the weekend. I'm like, what is this? This is ridiculous. So things had to change, and it took me maybe like 10 years to finally be vegan. So
You had the salsa dance of health. One step forward, one step back.
That's right. Absolutely, dude.
Yeah.
Two-stepping it, right? Yeah,
Exactly.
sometimes one jump back, right?
yeah, it's a journey for sure. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So your vegan journey started because of ayahuasca, right?
Yes, and me having that particular instance in my journey, and it just I came home that weekend, and I told my spouse, hey, I'm never gonna eat another animal again.
Wow.
You can eat animals if you want, but I will not. And she is a trooper, and she's like, okay, cool, I'm in.
That's awesome. You got yourself a good partner then.
I do.
It's a true partnership.
I do.
Right?
It really is. It really is.
So how'd you guys meet? Talk a little bit about your spouse.
That's an interesting one.
Yeah.
I met my spouse. I caught a case. Yeah.
Prison love.
No. This case was based on me and my brother helping some women that I thought were Latina, but they ended up being Caucasian.
Okay.
And we helped them out of a really bad situation where they were about to be jumped too by the same group of girls. And we got them down to their car. When everything was said and done, one of their drunk friends came up and started screaming at us, she doesn't want you to get at her, blah, 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 blah. A big melee ensued. Some 7 other people got involved and jumped me and my brother.
For helping
them. Wow. Yeah. And when it was all said and done, they lied on us and took 3 years of my life. I mean, I was out on bail, but it took 3 years and 2 trials to get out of the Santa Clara County judicial system.
Yeah. And once you get in there, they'll try to keep you in there.
They're trying to get you on anything. And when it was all said and done, our lawyers were shocked. The judge was shocked that we were acquitted on all charges.
Wow, that's
because
awesome.
It was all trumped up. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
No pun intended.
None, but but I mean, you got 2 guys coming from stellar backgrounds, and I've been working with kids as well. And when I was in high school, I was a peer counselor, and I did a lot of work with the community. And they tried to paint us as these people that just kind of were just wild and just catcalling and all this craziness. So, long story short, I went in to pay my retainer for my lawyer, and my cousin was the lawyer's paralegal. And I look over at this screen, and it's my cousin, this other girl, and my now wife. And I saw her, and I'm like, holy shit. Yeah. Excuse my language. Who is that, and how can I meet her?
That's awesome.
And she set it up. Like within a week, we met on Memorial Day weekend, and we spent the whole weekend together just talking and getting to know each other. And that was really the first time that we did what we did. And I grew up on rap music, so it was what it was. It was like, we're going to get it in, and it's going to be, another one next week or something. But it was really a deep connection, and it went on from then. And it's been great. We've had ups and downs, but it's been great.
How long has it been?
12 years.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Did you ever feel that way with other women, or that was the first time I was like, wow, I got to meet her?
I did. There's such a thing called lust.
Really? I'm just kidding.
It is what it is.
It's human
I've
nature.
heard of that, but I'm not sure.
Yes.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
But she's stunning. She is absolutely stunning. So it started off as like a lustful thought.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, God.
Well, I don't think anything starts off like, man, she's got an amazing personality.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
She's the way she says hello really got me going.
Yeah, she seems like an amazing human being. No, I don't think it starts like
that.
Right.
But it is what it is. But once I got to know her, it was really just, it was a no-brainer.
That's awesome.
You know, so
Yeah.
we've been together for about 12 years, and
Wow,
and
congratulations.
we have 3 boys together.
Wow, 3 boys.
Beautiful.
Yeah, well, I have a boy from a previous relationship,
Ah.
and she has a boy from a previous relationship,
And then there's one boy together.
and then we have one together. Yeah,
That's pretty
the
cool.
little guy. Yeah,
Wow.
we're blended, and it works. You know,
Yeah.
So how old are his older brothers? How much far apart are they?
15, 14, and we got 4.
Oh, wow.
Aw.
So there's a big window.
Well, at least he's
Yeah.
kind of like got big older brothers to look up to,
Yeah.
right?
He does, yes.
Does
And
he look
they're-
up to them a lot?
He does, and they're really patient with him because
Okay.
he's a wild one. He's
Oh,
like
really?
he's like both of them times 10
Oh,
together.
shit.
Yeah, he's wild, man. So, but they're really calm with him, and that is also their calmness with him has helped me to reflect on my own calmness in general in a lot of situations with them outside of home. Just I reflect on them because they're a mirror of me,
Yeah.
and thinking about certain times where they were calm, it like, okay, all
Yeah.
right, let's step back and let's not take on these old feelings.
Yeah.
You know,
That's cool that you can learn from your own children.
that's wonderful, man.
Yeah. That
They
means
keep
you
me
raised some
young,
pretty good
too, brother.
kids.
Yeah, I'm trying, man. You know,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
do what we can.
You know, I don't have any kids. I want kids, right? But
Mm.
I remember when I was young, my father taught me a very valuable lesson. Because my dad was my hero, right?
Mhm.
And I remember I was like 13, and I was like, Dad, I'm just like you, right? And he's like, no. And I was like, no. He's like, I don't want you to be just like me. I was like, what? He's like, I want you to be better than me. He's like, because if you're just like me, I failed as a father. And I was like,
Yes, sir.
boom, like mind blown, right?
Mhm.
So it looks like you're doing a good job because you're actually
Absolutely.
learning from them.
I'm telling you, man, it's a wonderful life we
Yeah.
live. It's wonderful, and children in general. You
Yeah.
know, we can learn so much from just being around kids
Yeah.
and getting back to that playful child heart.
100%.
Because this is something that we all have, but we forget because of what? The outside influences.
Right.
The Vegas of this world.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just Vegas, it's everything we do. It's the TV programming we watch, you know, that puts us in a particular corral.
That's why they call it programming,
Exactly.
right?
And I won't be programmed anymore.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, that's why like following your bliss to me is being youthful. and
Yes.
energetic.
Yes. And
You
having
know?
fun in everything you do.
Yeah, I realize, like, you know, I want to feel good and do the things that I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
That's the same feeling of me when I was a kid. I was just playing with friends, exploring, going to different places. Everything was so brand new and completely
Yes.
present. And I just wanted to go back to that. And now I'm like, wow, you know, I can go back to that. And anyone
Absolutely.
can go back to that.
Yes.
You can access that. So,
Yeah. I have a very powerful mentor who said, have you ever seen a 2-year-old be afraid? Think
Nope.
small?
Nope.
No. When we're 2, I want to own the world. I'm Superman. You know, and they all love each other and communicate. There's no racism.
Nope.
They're like just all one. But we say we're all born happy and good, but we're just messed up by the weird humans in our lives, right?
Yep.
And I appreciate what you do and what a lot of healers do, because I think what it's kind of doing is it sheds off all the layers that have been dumped on us,
Right.
so that we kind of hopefully go back to our true self, you
Right.
know, and we're able to be who we truly are, right? Outside, away from the influence and all that.
Right.
And it's funny the casino analogy you said,
Mm.
because the casinos were like the first cell phones of the world.
Absolutely.
Like overstimulation.
Mhm.
Like literally, it is like you just know the
100%.
minute you open those doors and you walk in, you get hit with a cloud of smoke. There's like noises and ringing and bells and, like you said, half naked women everywhere. I mean, it's just like stimulation, like overload.
Overkill.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then it allows you to be easily swayed or controlled,
Very.
right?
Mhm.
Wow, that's cool. So you got 3 boys.
3 boys.
I mean, I heard kids are a blessing, but I mean, what's it like being a father of 3 boys?
God bless, man. It's wonderful. It's
Yeah.
wonderful. Yeah, my wife still wants a girl, but I'm like, we're kind of, we got a 4-year-old who's like, he's like both of his brothers together. I don't know if I'm ready for all that.
shoot,
you know?
yeah.
But it's kept me youthful. It's definitely brought me back to that point where I'm able to see the beauty and look through a child's eyes, look through my child's eyes
Wow.
at anything.
Yeah.
At anything. I look at plants. I look at a leaf on a tree, totally different, because I understand that leaf has a purpose within the grand scheme of things. And we all do. We're all leaves kind of blowing in this universal wind. So as long as we know that our purpose means something, that we mean something, we matter outside of mattering for a corporation or mattering for the guy that provides the money for the food and yada yada. Like, there's more to life than that.
Yeah, and that's a hard thing to let go sometimes, because
it is.
You know, I had a father who was like driven, leader, super successful, and that was kind of planted in me. And you know, I spent the last 10 years in an organization of millionaires and super driven people, and nothing wrong with that. But I feel like there's also somewhat of a disconnect sometimes too, because there's that always, you're never satisfied. Like, you're never happy.
Nope.
Like, it's always like the next goal, the next achievement, and there's nothing wrong with achievement. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with money. There's nothing wrong with achievement. But I think you have to kind of have a healthy relationship with it all, you know? Like, I was talking to Jenny, you know, yesterday, and I know Waldo talks about this, and shout out to Jenny and Waldo, right? Especially when you get into that whole spiritual realm, like, there has to be a balance. You can't just completely leave the world. You can't just completely be like, oh, I'm a spiritual love art being, and the world's going to slap you around and run all over you, right? There has to be a balance, right?
Absolutely.
Can you talk about that? Because that's my biggest struggle, I think, with spiritualness, and I'll be honest with everybody here. I feel like I get weaker when I get more closer, you know? And I'm like, I don't want to be weak. I don't want to lose my drive. I don't want to lose that wanting to be achieved.
Right.
It's probably a big lie, right? But how do you manage the whole being of the earth, being of the spirit, being of the nature without kind of like losing yourself or not making breakthroughs?
So as far as feeling weaker, you have to ask yourself, all of us need to ask ourselves, what is this achievement that we seek? Why do we want this achievement? And is this really going to create a better path or a better life for me? Biggie Smalls.
He was my favorite rapper, by the way.
Is he? I love it. I love it.
I know it's the whole West Coast Tupac. We're West Coast, but I'm sorry, Biggie.
I was always repping Biggie, bro. Yeah. I love Tupac too, but you know.
West Side.
Leave it in the comments. Biggie or Tupac?
Yeah. I love them both.
Yeah, we love them both.
Absolutely. But you know, Biggie said, "More money, more problems."
Right.
You know, and that goes for a lot of physical things that we want, that we feel like having these physical things is like the culmination of your achievement. Why? Right. Why is that the culmination of your achievement?
Is it because we live in a capitalist society?
Sure. That is what it is, but that's also a societal norm. Right. So if we live our lives by the societal norms and we know that these physical things that we have don't make or break us, why would we put so much energy and time and effort into having these things? Right.
So how do you find the balance? Because there is a balance, right?
There is.
Between the spiritual world, the matrix, or whatever you want to call it, right?
Yes.
And, and just having enough to be okay, right?
Yeah.
Because for me, it's not about money or material things. It's about freedom.
Yes.
And opportunity.
Absolutely.
Because you can say money's not important, but, money doesn't make you happy. It does not. If you're miserable, you'll be 100 times more miserable.
Right.
But if you're happy, you'll be 100 times more happy. Right?
Absolutely.
But it's about freedom and options, right?
Yes.
And understanding what society I live in.
Right.
If I was in a socialist country, I could probably be a waiter and have a good life, have a house and all that kind of stuff. But I don't. I live in the Bay Area. I live in the United States of America, right? The Bay Area.
Pay Area.
I like that. You guys
Pay
heard
area?
it here.
Uh-huh.
It's called the Pay
The Pay
Area.
Area.
Right here. Okay. So, but how do you balance that? How do you balance the spiritual world, the regular world, and all that?
I do a lot of meditation.
Okay.
Gratitude is number one in my life.
Okay, so gratitude.
Yes. I slide off of my bed every morning and I'm on the ground thanking the Creator, thanking the universe that I was able to see one more day before I even do anything, before I even use the restroom.
That's powerful.
I'm being grateful. And the gratitude goes a long way. It goes for everything. When I start my day off with gratitude, everything else is a plus.
Right.
Everything, even the bad stuff. Even when somebody cuts me off, flips me off,
Yeah.
gets crazy with me, I'm just like, have a good one. I hope your day gets better.
I love that. One thing I want to share with you guys I started doing lately, it just came to me, like my intuition. I started saying gracias as soon as I wake up.
Yes.
Gracias. Like I just say,
Gratitude
I'm
in
in
Spanish.
bed saying gracias.
Absolutely.
Because we say it so much in the ceremonies. I was like, I'm going to start doing that at home too. I don't want to just do it while we're in the mountains, but I want to do it every single day. And I think that helped me a lot with my vibration and stuff too.
I love it. I love it. And it's everything. It's really everything. It can bring your understanding of everything around you to a better light where you can actually see, okay, I'm able to see what opportunities I have that are going to be lucrative and keep me where I need to be because I live in Los Gatos.
Yeah, 100%. That's even more expensive than where I live.
I'm telling you, man, it ain't easy.
Yeah.
But I'm able to see the schematic and able to see the path a lot clearer with that beginning of gratitude every single morning.
Yeah.
I'm able to pick and choose what I want in my life, and this Shroomy Walkabouts, it was a no-brainer.
Thank you for tuning in. That was the end of part 1. Part 2 comes out next Monday, 9 a.m. Please stay tuned.
Make sure you like and subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so that YouTube will let you know when the next one comes out.